Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you today. It gives me immense pleasure to have our next speaker for LinkedIn Local India's third anniversary. My name is Vivek Chadha, and our next guest is Dr. Marcus Ranney. From sick care to well-being, Dr. Marcus Ranney's career journey over the past 2 decades have led him from the patient's bedside to a wider stage as he now creates global impact via systemic change by championing well-being. Completing his Bachelor's of Science and Medical degrees from University College Medical School in London, his passion for extreme psychology has allowed him to conduct field research across the planet, with expeditions taking him to the sides of Everest, skiing in the Arctic and the European Alps. He has served as a medical officer in the Royal Air Force and at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. After practicing clinical medicine in London in 2010, he made the transition to Mumbai, where he has worked within the healthcare and life sciences industry as a strategic advisor and investor with a range of MNC and national bellwether firms. A published author, keynote speaker, digital talk show host, and public health commenter, he has been a World Economic Forum's global shaper and more recently appointed as a senior fellow to the Atlantic Council, working on a project exploring the relationship between the climate crisis and planetary health. A champion of well-being, Marcus is a big believer that sustainably improving the lives of billions of people the world over can only be brought about by enhancing the positive aspects of health rather than focusing solely on pathogenesis and disease. Marcus is a keen athlete and a long-distance marathon runner. He holds a Guinness World Record for backward running and thoroughly enjoys being a father of his 2 children. I heartily welcome you, Marcus, and I thank you for investing your time to join us today. So, Marcus, with all the doom and gloom of the past year, what is the impact and learnings from the pandemic? And what is the outlook for 2021 and beyond? What can we hope for?
Thank you for having me. And firstly, happy birthday and a big celebratory congratulations to all of you. I know how hard you work at LinkedIn Local India, and it's been a fantastic platform, community, and mission that you've been driving over the last couple of years. So well done. And of course, today's a wonderful testament of those efforts with all the various voices signing in throughout the day. So thank you for including me in that. For me, it's been very clear. It's the competitive advantage that well-being provides and the realization, the global realization for the strategic nature of just how important our health and well-being is. Perhaps it's serendipitous that we're doing this on the day that India is making history by launching the largest vaccine drive in our species history as we attempt now to vaccinate 300 million people over the next few months of this year. And for a lot of us, we've seen the effects that something as simple as a small virus can have in closing down national borders, international systems, and our own individual levels as well. So that's been my biggest takeaway from all of this. And over the next 10, 12 minutes, I hope I can share some of my learnings with your audience, if you allow me to do so. Should I proceed?
Certainly, please go ahead, Marcus.
Okay, fantastic. I hope my slide is up and you can see the first slide. So what I'm aiming to do with you all over the next 10 minutes is share with you 10 biohacks that I try and do as much as I can, hopefully every day, that helps me achieve a level of performance both physiologically and psychologically to be in the most optimal state. That's what my goal is in life. I'm a biohacker, I'm a medic with a huge love of science, and I'm going to share with you 10 of my little secrets and tips that I hope all of you, all of the audience, can start to imbibe in your own journey of life starting today. I'll begin with the little organ that resides in our skull, this 1.4 kilogram structure, the human brain, probably the most complex organ ever designed by the natural world, in the coming together of 87 billion neurons, that's 87 with a B, billion nerve cells inside of a brain, which each neuron connected to 7,000 other neurons. So the mathematicians and statisticians amongst our audience can do that mathematics to see just how many trillions and quadrillions of connections we have inside our brain. And the reason why this is so important is because it's those linkages which ultimately decide our thoughts, drive our actions, create our behaviors, and lead to our characters. So it's so important for us to each appreciate how important these tiny little neural circuits that we have inside of our brain are when it comes to our habits, our behaviors, and our capabilities. Many people tell me, and we start of a new year, so I often get this at this time of year, resolution time. Doc, I wanna run a marathon. Doc, I wanna lose 6 kilograms. Doc, I wanna get promoted this year, etc. And I keep reminding folks that these are goals. These are not habits. These are not habits that you're trying to form. These are goals. To run a marathon is a goal. To become a runner is the behavior. To run every day is the habit. And to create tiny actions, those are the little actions, such as owning a pair of running shoes, or getting your clothes ready the night before, or planning your running route with a friend who you're going to run with, etc. These are the actions. So when I think about the journey of creating a new habit and reaching a goal, I break it into these 3 simple steps. Rule number 1, start small, but start today. I don't want you to tell me I'm going to do this starting tomorrow, because I can give you in writing, because the data is very clear, that if you say that, 67% of you won't even begin it tomorrow. Whatever it is that you want to do, take a smaller chunk, but actually start it today. So that's rule number 1. Start small, start today. Rule number 2, stack them up. Break that big goal into the behaviors, into the habits, and then dissect those habits into as many little components as you can. So let's just use running as an example, because it's it would have been the Mumbai Marathon tomorrow, and a lot of us who are marathon runners are getting together to run tomorrow to celebrate. So I'll just use running as a theme for this. So if I want to create habit running, what are the tiny actions that I need to do? Owning a pair of running shoes, planning the run the night before, setting an alarm to wake up, making sure my water bottle is filled with water, planning the route, phoning a friend. So there's so many different components that comes to actually even reaching the start line. So break them up into those tiny pieces and then start linking them up. So start with 1. As you get good at doing 1, add the second, link it to the first. As you get better with the third, with the second, add the third, link it to the second. And slowly you start building a chain. And that is the most successful way of building a habit as per your neuropsychology and neurophysiology. So stack them up like you would paper cups. And the last rule is celebrate the wins. The brain feeds off of dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. Its role is that feeling of high that you get, not the endorphin high, but the happy high that you get. And the way it works is it reinforces the neural pathway which was associated with that particular habit, which is why doing bad things is so addictive, right? Smoking a cigarette, drinking alcohol, eating lots of chocolate, over binging on the OTT platforms. All of these are associated with those happy highs. The dopamine reinforces that behavior, and then you get addicted to it. You can use the same science to get addicted to good things by ensuring that you celebrate the wins. And a win might be posting on social media. It might be going out for a healthy breakfast after that long run. It might be celebrating with an accountability partner or writing in your journal. Whatever it is, figure out your win mechanisms and then celebrate the win. So those are the 3 rules. So habit hack number 1. So I'm going to really quickly with these because I know we're short on time. Habit hack number 1 is the power of sleep. Everyone who's ever listened to me before talk have probably heard me say this 100,000 times over. Sleep is nature's most freely available, abundantly capable, performance-enhancing drug, which most of us do not even appreciate. So sleep is the foundation. If you want to build a journey of peak performance and productivity, you have to get at least 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep every single night. And how you can optimize that, number 1 is melatonin, which is the sleepy hormone that allows you to go to sleep at night. You need to increase its concentration by switching off your digital devices at least 60 minutes before you go to bed. Because the screen, the light from the screen suppresses the melatonin and it prevents you from getting a good night's sleep. So that's rule number 1. 60 minutes before you go to sleep, stop looking at your devices. Rule number 2, the temperature of the room. 18 to 19 degrees Celsius is the optimum temperature for you to get your most restful and performance enhancement amount of sleep. So if you're living in South India where it gets really warm, then ensure you got a good air conditioning. If you're living in North India right now where I know it's really cold, then have a good quality blanket or maybe a heater in the room. But ensure that the temperature is between 18 and 19 degrees C. You see how easy this is, right? Don't look at your phone for 30 minutes and turn your air conditioning on or your duvet, pull it over so that the temperature and the light is controlled in your room. Okay. So habit hack number 2 is exercise. Steady state, so steady cadence exercise every day for at least 30 to 40 minutes is not only associated with physical well-being, it's also associated with mental well-being, particularly when it comes to productivity, innovation, and creativity. There is a chemical called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can see it on my slide here on the left. The more a subject exercises every day, and this was just steady state walking, you can see the higher the secretion of BDNF and the more number and the longer the number of neural circuits that exist within the brain. So something as simple as going for a walk for 30 minutes every single day not only makes you feel good physically, but it also helps your brain grow. It increases the number of neural connections, and you will be much more agile and clever when it comes to your mental capabilities. Okay, habit hack number 3, feed your microbiome to enhance your brain. Inside of your gut, there is around between 2 to 3 kilograms of good bacteria, good viruses, good fungus, good microorganisms. Its role is to take in all the fuel that you put inside of your body and to break it down so that it releases hormones and chemicals inside of your body which are good for your physical and mental health. The problem is nowadays we stuff our body with the wrong fuel. We put simple sugars, we eat a lot of trans fatty foods, we have things like a lot of caffeine and alcohol, etc. And that doesn't allow us to be in a state of health. So if you want to achieve your highest level of performance, feed the good bacteria that is sitting inside of your gut, which will not only help prevent the diseases associated with physical health like diabetes, hypertension, cancer, obesity, cardiovascular diseases, etc., but also regulate your mood, depression, Parkinson's disease, stress, anxiety. All of these are related to the neurochemicals which is secreted, and a lot of those originate in your gut. In fact, we now call it the gut-brain axis because it's connected with one another. And there are many foods that you can eat. What are these foods? Well, these are the foods. Click a photograph. Picture on the left is the macronutrients. How do you divide up your plate so that you're eating the right amount and quantities of the major food groups? That's fruit and vegetables should be half of your plate, so 2 quarters. 1 quarter dedicated to hopefully plant-based proteins, and only 1 quarter dedicated to carbohydrates. Remember, only 1 quarter to carbohydrate. Don't fill your plate with rice. Don't have 4 chapatis and rotis. Only 1 quarter, and try and have complex carbohydrates as best as you can. That's the micronutrients. I'm going to go faster and faster. Then we look at the that's the macronutrients. Let's look at the micronutrients. And these are all of them on the slide. By the way, just give me a shout out when we are coming to the end of time, because I want to make sure that I'm sticking to your schedule as well. Number 4, the power.
We have 2 minutes right now.
2 minutes. Okay. The power. So I won't do all 10. I'll only do 5. The power of breathing. Breathing is a tool that's been given to us by nature to help control our fight and flight response. It actually does the opposite. It allows you to rest and digest. Here's a subject which we put through an MRI study. You can see on the left-hand side, the bright colors which were associated before they did the deep breathing exercise. And then on the right-hand side is the dark colors, the dark blues and blacks, which was after meditation exercise. You can see how the energy level dropped, and even the wave formation on the brain shifted from gamma wave to alpha wave. Much more rhythmical, lower amplitude, lower frequency, more symmetrical wave formations. And that puts you in a state of flow and intense concentration. So box breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 4. I don't think I have time to do all the rest, but before we go, I'm just going to encourage everyone. I've written all about this and everything else in my new book, At the Human Edge. It's a book about the limits of human physiology and how you can attain your highest levels of performance. The QR code will take you straight to the book, and you can read the first chapter, and I welcome you to become readers. Thank you for your time. Here's all my contact details. You can reach me on social media, and I wish you all very well for the rest of the weekend, and of course LinkedIn Local India for a very happy birthday and the rest of the day for themselves as well.
Thank you very much, Marcus. That was very informative. Hope we are going to follow it, and congrats on the launch of the book. I hope millions of people buy the book and benefit from it.
Thank you very much, Vivek.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and investing your time today, and we'll see you around.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.